Exciting news from Quebec. Syrian refugees can't pass our driving tests, but they're being allowed to drive on Quebec roads anyways. Here's the story in Le Devoir. I find that Quebec newspapers are far less politically correct than English newspapers in Canada. Of course, there's nothing special about Syrian migrants in Quebec that makes them worse drivers than Syrian migrants in Toronto or Calgary or Vancouver. It's just that the media in English Canada tends to cover up any embarrassing news about migrants. Not so in Quebec, at least in this case. Here, let me read the story for you a bit. I'm showing you the French language story, but here's what it translates to in English. The headline says, "Refugees struggle to get their driver's license." The story starts off by quoting Céline Auger, a Quebecer who's trying to get these migrants some jobs on Quebec farms. But she says they keep failing the driving exam 4 or 5 times, so they're really not employable if they can't get out to the farm. Here's what stood out to me in the story. Quebec's insurance authority lets refugees who have a valid driver's license back in Syria drive for 6 months grace period in Quebec, after which they have to pass the test in Quebec. But they're failing that test again and again and again. Is it because they don't know English or French? Is it because they don't know the rules of the road? Is it because getting a driver's license back in Syria is probably a joke? Anyone could do it, or maybe you just bribe the driver's license guy with 20 bucks. I don't know. What I do know is that people who are failing the test again and again and again are being allowed to drive anyways for at least 6 months. And do you really think they're going to stop driving at 6 months? If they do, we'll talk about limiting themselves in their job opportunities. If they don't stop driving, well, we'll have people on the street who are a real danger. Le Devoir quotes someone saying, and I'm translating here, he knew a lady who had failed the test no less than 20 times. Often, refugees continued to drive illegally, collecting fines. Oh, that's great. Look, I have sympathy for these people. They're plucked out of Turkey or Jordan or Lebanon, taken to a strange country, not knowing our language, not having any job skills, not knowing our culture or customs, nothing. And after a fun photo op with the Prime Minister, they're just dumped and forgotten. We know they're overwhelming the food banks across Canada, either because they're truly poor or because they think anyone giving away free food is a sucker, or you'd have to be a sucker to buy your food when you can get it for free. I'm pretty sure the idea of giving people free things, giving strangers free stuff is unheard of back in Syria. But whatever the reason, Trudeau's refugee policy is a disaster. Poverty, unemployment, lack of basic life skills, lack of job skills. Oh, and he said he'll bring in $50,000 a year for 4 years. This is just the beginning. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.